If back to school makes you want to pull your hair out and gives you grays like me, then stick around. I'm going to share 4 strategies that helped me get my girls to school on time and as smooth as possible, not just in the beginning of the year, but through the entire school year. The 4 strategies that I'm going to share with you today are going to make you hate back to school a little less. Well, maybe a lot less, actually. I won't claim that you'll love it because I still don't love it. It is a lot of work, especially if you work outside of the home and you need to catch a bus or a train every day at a certain time so you can get to work on time. It can be really stressful. So stick around and let's take the edge off of some of that workload. Pull up, grab your drink, get your mom mode on, and let's chat. One of the reasons why I decided to do this video is because back to school never ever gets old. I have put 2 girls through school. My little one is turning 17 next week, so she is a senior in high school this year. And my big one is 23. She finished college 2 years ago. So even in college, I suffered back to school because my daughter would come home for the summers and then it was getting her back to school in August, and she was going to school in Colorado and we live in New Jersey. I have had my fair share of back to school for decades, all right? And I say that because it just never gets any easier. It's just different challenges presents itself every year. So what I'm going to share with you today are the 4 things that kept me solid no matter what the changes were. The first thing is you must create a consistent routine for yourself and for your kids and for your home. But for the purpose of this conversation, we're just going to keep it focused on the kids so that everybody knows what they're doing in the mornings and in the evenings, because evenings are important too. They set you up for the next day. So consistency is key to a beautiful life for any person, especially for a mom and definitely for a single mom. Some people would say, oh, that sounds so boring. That sounds so this, that, and the third. I promise you, consistency is your best friend, okay? So unless you create a consistent life for yourself where everyone is thriving and successfully living their best life, the alternative to that is chaos, irregularities. Somebody's always going to be late. That somebody will probably most likely always be you, right? Because you got to get your kids to school on time before you can get on the bus or the train. So, another reason why it's important for you to create consistency is because children behave so much better when they know what they're supposed to be doing, right? Creating parameters where they get to pick the things that they need to be doing every single day gives them the illusion that they're making the choices themselves, and it makes them feel empowered, right? If you tell your daughters or your sons or your kids, whatever, these are the 5 things that you need to do in the morning because we need to leave by 7:30. 7:30, that's just the time that I needed to be out of the house so that I could get to my office on time. I'm like, you can do these 5 things. You have to do these 5 things in this order. I don't care, as long as you're ready by 7:30. We gotta go. Consistency will also keep you from living your day-to-day aimlessly. I am so big on running your home like a business. It is not unloving to run your home like a business. It's actually, if you're a single mom, one of the surest ways that you won't drop any balls and that you'll be able to manage and handle everything. So having that consistency every day is absolutely essential as strategy number 1 to having smooth weeks and mornings and evenings and getting your kids to school and getting everyone to where they need to be. And that segues into strategy number 2. You need to organize a family calendar. In that calendar, you're going to write all these routines that are going to keep you consistent. And you don't have to make it complicated. Keeping everyone on the same page through an organized calendar is a sure way to minimize surprises, confusion or frustration. And I say that because as your kids get older and they have sports, which let's stop for a second. If you have girls, highly recommend that you also put them into sports. They're going to come home tired. They're going to come home with little time to be idle. And that's the best thing that you want for raising girls that aren't boy crazy. And I'll talk about that in another video. So I had 2 girls, and they were at any given point, they were either on track, volleyball, soccer ball, baseball, basketball. I have spent a good portion of my youth just taking my girls to all kinds of sports. And so you're going to need a family calendar to help keep that all organized. And again, don't go crazy. Don't go buying calendar softwares or anything like that. If your kids are younger and they don't have access to devices, this is why I started on paper and writing it on the fridge. Just put it on the fridge. They can go up to it, read it, and say, okay, today we're doing this. Mommy's here. And, just live your day-to-day super organized. That leads me into strategy number 3. You must prepare for your life in advance. Do not wait for the last minute to plan things, pay for things, look for things, prep for your week. Nothing will ruin your life more than living last minute to last minute for everything. It's super stressful. Your cortisol is going to be through the roof. You're not going to be able to get a good night's sleep because if you're prepping things till like 11 p.m. at night or doing laundry at midnight, it's crazy. Don't do that to yourself. So wherever you can, prepare in advance for pretty much everything. Decision making requires energy. So if you're going to bed late and you're waking up tired, just the simplest thing, like what you're going to feed your kids for breakfast, can feel like so overwhelming, right? Especially if you don't love the kitchen. Like, I'm an excellent cook, but I do not love the kitchen. And I also don't like bad food. So it's kind of like a catch-22 for me. I don't really like fast food. I don't really eat processed foods. Don't buy them for my kids. Don't feed them for my kids. So I'm always cooking fresh food, even though I don't like to cook. So for me, meal planning in advance, meal prepping, getting all my shopping out of the way is critical to my happiness, right? And so you need to figure out who you are as a person, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and kind of think of all the little things that contribute to your daily life, which is, if you're a single mom, it's a lot of things. It's pretty much everything, right? So preparing in advance for your life minimizes the morning rush and ensures that you're, a little more stress-free, and also that you don't forget things, right? Because I can honestly tell you that when my daughters would forget things, it was like, oh my God, that would definitely make me late to work, because and I'm still this way. Like, I don't like my kids to suffer in school. So if my daughters forget something, I will come back home, pick it up, take it back to school, and then catch the next bus. Not ideal. And yes, I would find it highly frustrating. And they know if I have to do that, they're in trouble, but I would do it anyway. But being organized, making sure that the kids have everything that they need in their backpacks the evening before is a game changer for you. Like, I would literally sometimes look in their backpacks to make sure that all their books were in there, their pencils, their pens, everything that they could possibly need. Their lunches were already like in a bag in the fridge. All we had to do in the morning is take them out and put them in their book bags, and everybody keep going, right? So how you prepare for the week, there's really no right or wrong way to do it. I would say this, that the best way to do it is the one that you're going to stick to, right? But I'll give you an example of just kind of the 2 methods that I use. So you can prepare over the weekend for the week ahead, so you have more free time in the evenings, or you can prepare every single night. The every single night method is a little bit more riskier, because if something comes up and you get home late in the evening, you're held up at work or something, it's going to mess you up. So for me, I used to do as much as I could do during Saturday and Sunday and give myself like the easiest evenings that I could possibly have, right? Because I would also come home tired. I've always had corporate jobs, and I think that sometimes people underestimate how mentally exhausting it is to have a corporate job. Yes, it's not physical labor, but sometimes I would come home and like my brain was just mush. There was nothing left for me to like just no will. You know what I mean? Like, I was tired. I was tired of thinking, and that would also make me physically tired. So to me, the more that you can do in the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, to prepare for your week, do that. You know, that includes going shopping, that, you know, your groceries, your laundry, cleaning, bathroom, like, do that. Create a routine for all of those things. So because you also don't want to have, not have free time on Saturday and Sundays. So done correctly, both of these methods will help you avoid stress and create a stable home environment. So honestly, like I said before, there's no right or wrong way to prepare for the week. The best way is just simply the one that you know that you will stick to. You know, for example, on the weekends, I would do my laundry and my shopping. I would not do laundry during the week unless it was just absolutely critical. And you wouldn't catch me dead in the supermarket during the week when my girls were younger. I do not like going to the supermarket. Honestly, I swear it's the reason why I'm not a millionaire. You can use your weeknights for smaller things like selecting the clothes that you're going to wear the next day. Now, there were times where I would toggle between, for myself, I would select my clothes like the evening before. But for the girls, when I did laundry during the weekend, I would kind of fold their laundry in like outfits. So I was doing laundry and I had 10 outfits all together, 5 for each. And I would put it like in these little hanging little cubbies that I'll link below. And they could literally wake up every morning, grab whatever they needed from one of those cubbies, put it on, and we were good to go. And I lived my life like that for a really, really long time until they got older and they were kind of able to manage their routines a little bit better. With that said, every child is a world of their own. My eldest daughter, she can get up and be ready in 20 minutes. My little one, she always needs an hour and a half, sometimes more. So that's just the way they are. And instead of trying to mold my little one to me, to my time constraints, and spend literally 14 years of her life fighting every single school morning over it, I simply taught her that if she needed 2 or 3 hours to get ready for school, there was nothing wrong with it as long as she was ready by 7:30 a.m. in the morning. That was our only deal. You could wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You could wake up at 6. You could wake up at 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. I do not care. But mommy needs you to be ready at 7:30. And there were times where it was like still dark and she was already in the bathroom, whether she was blow drying her hair because she has always loved to look like a princess. She quickly learned that she didn't like getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning to go to school because she was slow. So she gradually started doing things much quicker. She gradually started creating a routine for herself that worked for her timeline, but also for my morning departure time. And that's just kind of the way you have to, live your life when you're a single mom. You just really can't be leaving anything to chance, and you need to create a life for yourself where you're not constantly fighting with your kids over things that you cannot change, because they too also have the right to wake up in the morning and kind of just do what they like to do, how they like to do it, right? So definitely preparing in advance is a discipline and a lesson that will carry through for everyone in the family. There are 2 other components of preparing in advance that I want to emphasize in this video as well. Food is extremely important. You need to meal prep. You need to plan in advance for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the reason why I say that is because food has a direct impact on the way that children behave, right? Because say, for example, if you're feeding your kids Pop-Tarts for breakfast, that's going to have an impact on their sugar. It's going to spike. They're going to be super active in the morning in school, probably too rambunctious to sit down and listen to their teacher, right? So they're going to be categorized as, ADHD or whatever, uncooperative, talks too much, blah, blah, blah. And then in the afternoons, they're going to be falling asleep, right? And then they're going to be like, oh, he or she is either jumping off the walls or not paying attention and falling asleep. But it could literally be what you're feeding your kids. So that's a topic for a different video, but just want to put it in here to make you aware that meal planning is really important. My daughters, I never really fed them processed food. That was just extremely important for me. Even though I do not like to cook, I do love good food and healthy food. So definitely, if you're having those issues with your children, start with looking at what they're eating for breakfast and what you're feeding them for lunch as well, because that could definitely help in some situations. Another thing that you can do nightly, again, I probably touched on this before, is organize their backpacks. Plug all your devices in theirs to make sure that everybody's charged. Is nothing worse than you trying to reach your kid or vice versa and your phones are dead. The fourth strategy that I have to share with you, and you probably won't even imagine it in a million years, but I promise you is going to just transform your back to school and the 10 months ahead, is you absolutely need to have a dedicated homework station set up for your kids at home. When your kids are doing homework, they cannot be on the floor, they cannot be on the couch, they cannot be in their beds. They need to be at a desk, okay? And I've always had a home office setup. And I will always have a home office setup because my girls used to love to do homework on my desk. And when they were sitting at the desk, they were so focused on completing their homework. And it could have been that they grew up watching me come home, and when I was sitting at my desk, whether it was my work from home days or I was working on a project after dinner, that was an area of focus. It was an area of, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to get this done, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to do something else. So for me, I noticed the girls used to, whenever, and this happened by coincidence, right? It wasn't that I set up a homework station for them. I had never even thought about that. I had set up my home office for me so I could come home and do my work. But they grew up watching me work at my desk. And so that kind of stuck with both of them. And so they would come home and they would sit at my desk to do homework. So I had a desk where you could sit. This one here is a little bit different, but in my old apartment, it was a standalone desk and they could sit on either side of it. And they would sit there and do homework. And I mean, it was incredible to see. At some point, my daughter, she was just like, Mom, you know what? I love to do homework at the desk because I feel like I focus more. So if you have a corner in your home where you can put up a desk for your kids with pens and pencils and a computer, do it. Do it. IKEA has, even if your apartment's really small, you can still do it. IKEA and Amazon, you can get those really small triangular corner desks. Set it up, put a little lamp and get your kids used to doing homework on a desk. The next thing I'm going to say about homework is on Friday nights, you have to do homework. I raised my daughters that homework needed to be done Monday through Friday. I didn't care that it was a Friday evening and you had Saturday and Sunday to do homework. You were going to do your homework on Friday evenings when you got home, because Saturday and Sunday was free time, playtime. To me, there's nothing worse, because my nephews had done it to my aunt, and even my daughters did it to me once in a while. You're out on Sunday trying to have a good time, and suddenly somebody remembers that they didn't do a project that's due tomorrow. And then you have to drop everything to go back home to do homework on a Sunday night. No. Get your kids used to doing their homework Monday through Friday so that they can enjoy Saturday and Sunday, and you too. I know you don't want to be reviewing homework when you get home tired from work, but it's gonna pay off in the long run. I put so much work into my daughters, not knowing that I would see the fruit of my labor one day. I did it back then because I wanted to make sure that despite being alone with them, that they had the best upbringing, the best home environment, the best everything that I could possibly give them. But what that did was just create these incredible young women that I absolutely just love watching. Like, I love the way that my daughters live life. I love the confidence that they have to make decisions and see things through. I love how secure and strong they feel. I love how somebody could say something negative to them and they know that that is not who they are. And so, yes, it has taken many years of investment, you know, physical, emotional, financial, spiritual, everything. But it's paying off, right? And so just know that if you implement all of this, all of these steps, and there's so many more things that you can do, but for the purpose of this video, I just wanted to give you the things that were just absolutely foundational to your success as a mom, getting your kids through school for the next 20 years, because kids are in school pretty much that long, you know, if you consider from pre-K through college. Yeah, I mean, you can get through this, but you're not going to get through this if you don't have a plan for yourself. So I hope everything in this video helps you start falling in love with your life little by little. There's certain things that you cannot control, but you can definitely control how you show up to back to school and how you get your kids through the school year every single year. There's something in this video for everyone. So subscribe, stick around, get your mom mode on, because the school year has just begun. And I'll see you in the next video, which I'll leave linked somewhere around here. See you in the next one. Bye.